We strive to help you in every aspect of your lawn, gardening, and landscaping needs. We have awesome lawn decor, everything from metal art to whatever you might need to spruce up your garden. Our quality of produce is #1. Prices are easily comparable to anywhere. Think about your spring flower beds right now. We need to get going, make that soil ready, and get our planting shoes on. So come on down to Megan's Market and we'll make you a great deal. Not only can we give you the knowledge you need, but our goal is your success.
Welcome back to yet another Eastland County Today Live. We are going to be covering a can be a very sentimental or very touchy type of subject, that of cyberbullying and any other kind of crises and such that go on in the area. Amy here is going to interview these ladies, and we're going to talk about a local center that's actually going to help anybody that actually needs anything out there. So without any further ado, Amy's going to take the wheel.
All right, thank you. Welcome to Eastland County Today Live, and we're real happy that y'all could come and visit with us today. I'm meeting some new people myself here in the county, and that I have not met until today. But we've got Gina Camacho, and we also have Robin Seaburn, and both of these ladies work with the Eastland County Crisis Center. And they explained to me before we started that a lot of, it's an agency here in our county to help adults and children in the county, families in the county, who a lot of, you hear a lot about government funding, but this is the type of program that we're happy to have here in Eastland and lucky to have to provide some services. Why don't you tell us a little bit, just before we get started, about what is the Eastland County Crisis Center? What is it and what do you do?
Well, it was established 20 years ago as a volunteer program. At that time, the chief of police in Eastland had seen the need for domestic violence victims and what they were lacking. It would continuously go back to the offender because they didn't have resources and people to help them get on their own or whatever they might need help with. Mm-hmm. And so it started out back in 94. So the Crisis Center has been here for 20 years. And in 2005, they saw that 33% of the victims that we were seeing were children, and saw the huge need for specific services for children. And so they opened the Children's Advocacy Center in 2009. And so we've been able to work with children now, and we help victims of sexual assault at the Crime Victim Assistance Center, and children and their non-offending family members at the Children's Advocacy Center.
So are you all housed in the same location?
Yes, we are now.
We are now. We just recently moved into our new building, so that's been one of the most amazing things, is having the Children's Advocacy Center, which obviously Robin's very involved with, and then the Crime Victims Assistance Center as well. All of that staff and those resources, from an attorney to a psychiatrist, a forensic interviewer, community educator, family advocates, all of that under one roof. Right
so
there.
Tell us where it's at for people who don't know where you're at.
It's actually a confidential location to protect victims, but they are anybody that's a victim or wants to help.
So
how
would someone know that you're even there? How would they know to get hold of you?
Just us talking to you. We have Facebook page, we have the newspaper where we advertise, word of mouth, we're at all the community events that we can get out.
And I guess law enforcement as well.
Absolutely.
Law enforcement also, they have our information for when they unfortunately have to go on these calls, or Child Protective Services is the same way. When they encounter a victim of either domestic violence or sexual assault, they have our phone number, our hotline. We have, it's 24 hours a day. It's not an 8 to 5 thing. We have volunteers and advocates after hours. So whether it's 2:00 in the afternoon or 2:00 in the morning, if somebody calls, then we're available. So.
I think the most important thing is that people who are children or adults who need help know how to get it and not be afraid to ask for it.
Right.
So, if there is a trusted adult, teacher, police officer, school teachers, anyone that they could go to, they would know how to get that help for
The
that
schools
individual.
and all of that. We've
Yeah.
worked with a variety of community organizations and groups and even businesses
Yes.
for so long, and there's ways that they can get a hold of us.
Right. Well, when you talk about domestic abuse or within families or marriages or children, you think, it's always at the home. But that's not necessarily the case. I mean, abuse or um, becoming a victim can happen anywhere, really.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's one of the things that we were hoping that we could talk to you about today. Is I know we've had some other types of what I would call abuse of students, and with this cyberbullying issue that has. I don't think anyone is immune from this. I think every school, experiences it to a certain degree. And I just want y'all to talk about that. You're the experts. We're not. we want to know what how's it going, and what's being done, and what can we do, and what can people do with all these issues. So.
Well, there's a lot there when you talk about bullying in general, and certainly when you start factoring in the cyberbullying aspect of it. You and I could sit here and talk for hours about it. I think some of the key points to remember is that technology is evolving and it's changing and it's expanding. You and I were talking about this earlier. And laws and parents and schools and even people in our field are kind of rushing to catch up and to stay ahead of these kinds of things. It went from being, maybe a website or a Facebook or a MySpace to now you have apps. You have something right there that you're carrying with you all the time, and you can bully them. So it becomes very difficult for a victim who is a victim of cyberbullying to get away from that. When you're at school and you have a bully at school, when you go home, you have a safe place.
Right.
When you go out with your family, or you may have friends outside of school. The cyberbullying, I think, is one of the most difficult things to deal with, because it does infiltrate everywhere you go. You can't
Right.
get away from the internet. You can't get away from what people are saying, and it has a much further reach than regular bullying. On that topic, I think schools, have to pay attention to what's happening. You have to be aware. You have to look at your policies maybe in a little bit different light than what you would deal with traditional bullying. But for me, I think the huge difference is going to come from the homes. It comes from the parents. It comes from having discussions with your kids, being aware of what social networking sites, and I don't just mean Facebook, because
Right.
literally everybody and their mom has a Facebook page. I think we're all kind of understanding
Right.
how Facebook works, but it's about understanding what apps are on your kids' phones, and it's not just for cyberbullying. It's to protect them from a wide range of other online dangers. You want to be aware of what apps they're using, how they're using them, how are they interacting with people through these apps, and their computer. The old thing is to keep the computer in a family room,
Right.
but even still, I don't know very many kids that are on the laptop or the home computer. Most of them
Right.
are on their phones doing it. So you want to be aware of that. I think you want to have some honest conversations with your kids about using the internet, and not just protecting their identity or staying away from predators, but also in how they relate to other people online, and how they treat other people online, whether it's, posting anonymous comments or,
Mhm.
Starting a hate page or something like that. I think if your child comes to you and tells you that something is going on, or you start to kind of see some of the signs that maybe there's some bullying happening, you don't want to shrug it off, and you don't want to overreact. My best advice would be to sit down and talk with your kid and figure out a solution that both of you feel comfortable pursuing. You don't want to force them in to something that maybe they're not ready to do.
Right.
And you don't want to say, kids are big kids, get over it. It's just about talking with them and saying, okay, so this is going on. What would you like for me to do? As advocates, that's one of the first things that we always talk about is, what do you want to do? Because it's very important with any victim of abuse to respect their comfort zone and let them have the power in the control over the situation to make their decisions for their future. Because the last thing they need is one more person bullying and forcing them into something they're not ready to do.
Mm-hmm. Well, like you're saying with the World Wide Web, once something's out there, whether it's a word, a picture, anything, it's really, you can't get it back. It's there. And I think that, like you said, the education of students realizing, we've got very young kids with cell phones that are capable of doing anything. And so with all that, like you said, apps and programs, so it's just something that, it's it's respecting yourself. I think it's respecting other people enough not to do that. But, I want to just say with all the programs, I mean, in the extreme case of that, it can be really bad. I mean, it could put that individual in a really bad situation. Meaning they don't feel like, there's nothing they can do at that point, and they maybe become isolated or become, depressed or whatever.
Well, I mean, as individuals, I would give children the same advice that I would give adults, and that is, on the flip side of that, be careful with what you share online, whether it's a story, a rumor, a picture, something that you intend for one other person. Once you're putting that out online through texting or Facebook, it can go anywhere,
Right.
and it can be used in ways that you didn't intend.
Right.
And I think that is a general safety tool. We always talk about kids not sharing their personal information online, like your social security number or your address. But I mean, there's a wide variety of things that you want to make sure that you're not sharing online, even if you just if I intend it for you, but if you get mad at me, how is that going to be used against me later?
Right.
Or if somebody hacks into your phone or gets on your phone and has access to this and can send it to themselves. I mean, information shared online is so quick and it's so fast moving, it's so fluid, it can be very difficult to rein in the information that you are releasing out there. So I would encourage kids, the general safety tips: don't be friends with people you don't know. Don't share your school schedule and things like that online. But then there's also the ones of, even amongst friends, you need to be wary of what it is that you're sharing about yourself.
Right. Well, I mean, we all know, you can be friends one day and something happened, you're not friends next, or your boyfriend or girlfriend. So it changes very quickly at that age.
And I think we need to mostly to point out what our parents need to be recognizing. If our children aren't coming to us and talking to us, is maybe recognizing some of those signs. Of, maybe they stop using the computer all of a sudden, or they might start feeling nervous or jumpy,
angry, depressed.
It's recognizing those signs, because sometimes kids won't tell you what's going on because they are scared or nervous or worried about what mom and dad might think. So
right. Well, you're right. I think I mean, like, it's not just like you said, the school day. It follows you into the evening and the weekends.
So there will be personality. I mean, there'll be personality and emotional responses. I mean, cyberbullying isn't in a bubble. It's not just happening online. So if it's happening online, there's probably some bullying already happening at school as well. Yeah. It's kind of a tool that goes hand in hand with things that are already happening. And so, you want to look for the same signs that you would.
Right.
If your kid's having conflict with people, if they don't want to go places, they don't want to go out socially, they don't want to go out to dinner with the family, especially in a small community like this. They don't want to go to do things that they used to normally love to do or be around other kids. There's just some things like that you want to keep an eye out for. And just have that honest conversation, because it could be bullying. It could be a wide range of issues. I mean, all those warning signs can be signs of bullying. It can be signs of dating violence. It can be signs of abuse by an adult or a caregiver. It could be, just general depression. I mean, there's all of those signals, whether it's cyberbullying or not, or things as a parent that you want to sit down and just find a way to talk with your kid, whether it's while you're playing video games with them. Hey, how's school going? I mean, it doesn't have to be an after school special sit down. Let's talk.
That's hard to get.
I think kids get most nervous when mom's like, let's talk. But just finding, if they like to throw the football around in the backyard. I remember when I was in high school, the best talks my dad and I had was throwing the softball around in the backyard. And looking back on it, I see that he was using that as a way to touch base with his daughter. But it's just simple things.
Right. Well, all these different issues. I know the school, does the schools set up guidelines that the students and codes of conduct that they're to follow, which, I think that helps to a certain degree. I mean, if you realize that you could lose a privilege or maybe even worse, be pulled from your classes, and I mean, which that affects the whole family when that happens. I mean, there's all sorts of systems in place, but I mean, besides that, y'all do go into the Eastland County schools. Is that correct?
Yes. I can't speak to the education programs that were happening before, but I can tell you what we have on the agenda and some things that we're looking at exploring now. And that is, we are looking at exploring, the obvious bullying prevention programs. And what that encompasses is it talks about why people bully, how to deal with the bully, how to prevent bullying. And one of the biggest things is the bystander effect. And that is when you see someone, and this is back on the students, something that Robin and myself and even parents and even school officials may not be able to be actively involved in, is when you see someone being bullied, that the students say something about it, that they intervene, that they have an attitude and they have a culture that says, we're not going to let this happen.
Yeah,
So
we're not
standing
gonna
up for your friends and
and
classmates.
that may not even be your best friends, but you see it happening. And so it's about encouraging students to do that, because that, I talked about the importance of parents, but that in the schools, that is the most important thing. Me going in to talk about it is great. It's great. But what I want to do is I want them to take what I'm saying to heart, kind of absorb it and implement it when I'm not there. And that has more of an impact. If you have 8th graders standing up for 6th graders, high school seniors setting a standard of not allowing it to happen, that has more of an impact than any number of presentations that I could do.
No,
so
you're right.
We talk about that. So we talk about bullying, we talk about self-esteem issues. There's a wide range of topics for them.
Well, I think that like you said, you have them for a limited time, and then the rest of the time, and a lot of times I think a peer, like you said, standing up or noticing something, or maybe, what if the case that maybe a teacher doesn't or a parent isn't catching something. Sometimes your friend will know before anyone, especially at that age. And if we're talking school age kids, and, for them to know that it's okay, if they're really worried about a friend or a classmate, go talk to someone that maybe can look into it a little bit more. I mean, there's only so much they can actively do, but they can at least maybe make an adult or
if they don't feel comfortable confronting the issue head on there, then having a path and information to them that say, this is a person you can go talk to. This is a teacher. This is administrator. You can talk to your parents and have, and just someone that they can talk to about that.
Right. And like you said, I mean, sometimes, with the internet stuff, they may not even know it's out there. I mean, somebody may have seen it, and you personally, if it's about you, don't even know until later. So, but
that can be pretty traumatic. I mean, I think even as an adult, it would be pretty traumatic to find out that someone's created a page about you or against you, and you not even know until days later when it's already out there.
Right. Well, how many staff do y'all have working with the center, and what are the different, you talked about the children's advocacy and the victims advocacy, but how many staff about do y'all have?
We have 10.
Okay.
We have 10. The children's advocacy side has 2 pretty much full-time, and then the counselor goes between the Children's Advocacy Center and the Crime Victim Assistance Center. So she's back and forth. She stays very busy between both centers. And then, of course, they have 6, 7 now. The community educator also does education for both the Children's Advocacy Center and the Crisis Center.
So if they don't come on their own, I mean, get referrals of individuals who need help through law enforcement clinics, I guess
And we-
medical clinics or
Yes.
doctors,
and we post
nurses.
information, we leave brochures in lots of places. Community outreach events like Rip Fest
Mhm.
or Cisco Folklore Festival. We will have a booth there and we'll hand out information. We have little wooden nickels that have our phone number on there so they can call, and if they need to come in, tell them how to get to us. So,
Right. Was there anything else y'all want to talk about today that related to your programs or upcoming initiatives or?
yeah, we are doing since April is Child Abuse Awareness and Prevention Month, we would like to get out there. The April 10th is Wear Blue Day, and we are really going to be reaching community members to see how many people we can get to wear blue and get some pictures, maybe
Okay.
put those out there for everybody to see and show that we're against child
Mhm.
abuse. So,
Well, we'll have to all remember to wear blue and spread the word then. So, do you have anything else?
No, I think, just to kind of echo what Robin says right now. Like I told you, this is my I mean, the early stages of the second week, I think, of working at the center. I worked there previously, so I've just recently come back. But I think right now the biggest focus that we're on is the Child Abuse Awareness Month, and
Sexual Assault Awareness and Prevention Month
also that just getting that information out there, letting people know that we're available
There's a balloon release
on Thursday.
This
No,
Thursday
it's this Thursday.
at the courthouse.
April
Okay.
2nd.
I think
We're
that's
working
the
out-
Child Welfare Board is doing that along. We're going to be there too, so that'll be a big event for the community. I think like at 9 in the morning.
Yeah, we're working out the details with the
Rita.
Eastland County. So
Proclamation, Child Abuse Awareness Proclamation. So we encourage community members to come out and be a part and show their support for our
these
children.
kids need it.
Yes.
And
Well, we're pleased to meet you and also very pleased to know that these services are available and that we do have a system in place when things do happen that aren't necessarily what we would like to happen, but things do happen. And so like I said, I think the most important thing is that the community realize that you're there and thank y'all for what y'all do. So,
Well, thank you for having us.
yeah, I appreciate the opportunity to come out and share all this with you. So
well, we'd love to have you again. So,
anytime.
thank y'all.
Thank you.
Well, that's been another Eastland County Today Live. You guys tune in later on during the week and we'll end up having some more. We'll catch you next time.
This is lots.
Thank you.